So, hello and welcome to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tacitcs podcast. And today, as you can see in the background, we are going to discuss what what we were discussing the last time. And these are, let me see where my things are. These are seven ways to get somebody or someone to like you according to an FBI expert. And it's by Melanie Curtin at Melanie Curtin on Twitter. And it's on the ink.com website so that you can read it yourself if you would like to. And I saw that there was only 1 point left yesterday, and this one we're going to make or discuss today. And it is use the right body language. Practically every study in the known universe on body language says that a genuine smile is the fastest and most reliable way to put someone else at ease. Don't fake it, but don't forget about it either. But yeah, I would say please do not fake a smile like this. Just really, or to just practice making really hearty smiles or smiling really hearty. I think that would be something great if you just do not have to do anything yet. And I will go through every point again and read the headlines. The first one is listen without judging. The second one is stay in the moment. The third one is ask them the best question. I'm sorry. And the fourth one is ask for advice. The fifth one is ask whether it's a good time. The sixth, meeting a stranger, tell them you've only got 1 minute. And the seventh one is use the right body language. And the right body language is smiling. And if you really want to hear more about these topics, then I would advise you to go to the last episode and just jump to the middle of it, because I before that just talked about something else. But nevertheless, because I found a pretty great article from Gary Vee himself on his own website, we're going to talk about this one. And it's called 7 Mindset Shifts That Bring Happiness. And as you know me and as you know Gary, happiness is the key to everything. If you're doing something 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week or more that you do not really like, I would suggest you to find something else, because it just, disrupts you in every single part you have, at my point of view. And this shouldn't be your life. There are a lot of videos, if it had been, your life or something, and they take every single part of your life and they compare it with each other. So the time you're spending in school, the time you're spending at work, the time you're spending doing something else, watching TV, I don't know. Then you can see that I'd say 2/3 of your life is work. And so 2/3 of your life wasting time doing some shit you do not care about it, you do not like. I wouldn't suggest that. But we are going to read this. And the first point he wants to point out: no one cares about your problems, they've got their own tears. And that's something I've talked already a lot about, is that you shouldn't only be talking about yourself. And the best way to be liked, which has the article before admitted, as I was reading it yesterday, is that you just be interested in the other person and just talk about what they would like to have, and so on. Just do not talk about yourself. But let's see, and there's a little GIF that says the level of complaining is unacceptable. with Gary himself. I can't expect anyone to listen to my complaints when I know they've got issues to deal with too. They have their own tears to worry about. So many people judge books by their covers and take a look at someone's status, wealth, good looks, friends, and just assume that they're happy. I would say especially when they're wealthy. A lot of people might see wealth as happiness itself, but it isn't, and that's why, at my point of view, it's like the process to the goal, or the way to the goal, is actually the goal. And I've talked about it in another podcast as well. I've said that for me, often it is like the week when I'm in school. I'm 40 hours a week in school, and this is like, yeah, I'm really happy that the weekend is near me, and so on. You know, this is just typical student fucking thing, even though if school isn't that bad, especially when I have a real job afterwards. But nevertheless, I often see that if I have nothing to do on the weekends, because I'm really used to doing a lot of things during the weekend, be constantly doing something that's in my eyes and at my point of view, something that's valuable, or not just wasting my time. So that on the weekends, when I do not have anything to do that I assume to be valuable, I just get really, really fucked up. And I mean fucked up. Because I just do not like not doing anything. Some sort of. But let's read. My friend's happiness is still ROI. ROI means a return of investment, not paper. So how do I live? I made my bed and my situation is mine. The best way to fix stuff is not to cry about it to as someone who has their own issues to deal with. And Gary often says, and I think he hasn't really admitted it in this article, is that you should really be taking everything for your fault. I don't know, I haven't decided yet if this is something I really want to suggest, but I want to give it to you, and so that you can suggest whether it is worthwhile, practicing or doing, making it. I don't know. So because he says that if you're taking everything for your fault or your fault, and then you put yourself in a way where you are really, how should I say, you're really the only person that could change this, because nobody is in charge of that, because you're only looking at yourself as the fault and the person who can make it, some sort of. And that's why he thinks that taking everything as your fault is a great way. But let's see what the second point is. The second point is reprogram your positivity or negativity scale. I know so many people who have it made and complain daily, and others that have it so hard that are always happy. And it's something really interesting I see often when I'm looking at pictures of people in very poor countries, or even villages in Africa or some other countries as well. And their kids, they have nothing, literally nothing. Maybe just even they don't have enough water, or they do not have a toilet like we have or I have. And they're just smiling all the time. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. If there's any way you can challenge yourself in 2019 to start looking at the world with a more glass half full mentality, way more yes and way less no, so much can happen. I'll read it again. If there is any way you can challenge yourself in 2019 to start looking at the world with a more glass half full mentality, not like the glass is half empty, but it's half full, and way more yeses and less nos. So much can happen. And there is now a a clock with written into it grateful. And studies have shown, I think, just take it with a grain of salt, that it doesn't matter which mood you're in. If you're thinking about something you're grateful for, the only thing you're thinking about is the thing you're grateful for, and when being grateful, you most of the time aren't sad or something negative in general. You're just grateful, and it's, for me, it's something like a positive feeling. You should try this out right now. Stop the podcast and think about 3 things you're grateful for, and then tell me in the comments or on any social media platform you would like or you prefer what you were thinking about, maybe, if you want to, and if there were any negative feelings you had during this time. But let's see. Brendan Warnke, my best friend since age 14, is the best executive at Wine Library. For those people who do not know that Gary Vee, Wine Library was a family business of his family, so actually of his father, and he grew it from a 3 million in profits business to a 60 million in profits business, which is pretty good, I'd say. At Wine Library, because of his mindset, he didn't have an easy childhood. He deals with all the biggest issues at the shop, and he does it with a smile. People underneath him cry with far less pressure. Along those same lines, I see executives at VaynerMedia who handle pressure champs and those who cry wolf at things that are 1/8 as important. Please, for your own happiness, make 2019 a reprogramming of the positivity or negativity scale. And to explain VaynerMedia, it's his advertising and media agency here. He founded or co-founded. Work for the love of the game, and I think that's an attribute to what I was telling you before, so that actually for me the process often means the goal instead of the actual goal, even though you most of the time just recognize it and see it after you've achieved your goal, and then you'll be like, it's just not as I thought it would be. And then you'd be like, the way to here, to this place, was just great. For me, it is like this. People love entrepreneurship and owning a business when it leads to fame and fortune. The issue is we have lived through so many years of prosperity, and many youngsters get into the game for those things. This means that you shouldn't be doing it for the money and or for the wealth or something else that you could expect for yourself. That may be, also fame, I'd say. I just thinking if it's true to generalize everything and put everything into a pot. But you should rather do it for the customers, for the happy clients, for serving other people, and so on. I really hope you're here for the love of the game, because that's who will be able to navigate the waters when the economy melts. More importantly, loving this journey is the quickest path to happiness. So whether you're an entrepreneur who makes 2.7 million a year or one that makes 27,000 a year, whether you're that works 37 hours a week or one that works 98, whether you're a teacher, lawyer, truck driver, eBay flipper, executive, make sure you're doing what you love. And that's also something I would suggest you, because as I said, you would be wasting so much time, so much lifetime. You could be doing something you really enjoy and you really are some kind of grateful for. Oh yes. The fourth one, 99% of people that judge you have no idea what's going on in your life. And that's also something I've said in one of my last Instagram videos, that is just really interesting how much people just talk about each other, even though they have no clue what you are doing, who you are, and so on. And that's one of the reasons why you should totally give a fuck what people are talking about you when they do not know you. I would say if your mother says you're just a piece of shit, oh, have you heard this? Heard? My God. If your mother is telling it to you, or is telling you, I'm sorry. You may be there may be something behind this, but let's see. Once you truly understand this, two amazing things start to happen. It allows you to really talk all insults and judgments with a grain of salt. They don't know you, they only know a small percent of you. Even the 10 people closest to you don't know everything about you. They don't have everything that's going on in your mind. They don't know everything that's going on in your mind or heart. They don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So please, when someone spits hate or criticism, remember, they honestly don't know, and it's oftentimes a much bigger reflection on them than you. You stop judging others and thinking you know everything about them. Always remember, you're only seeing a small piece of the person's life. You don't have fully context. That's why you shouldn't really judge people, I guess, because you don't know them actually. And even if they judge you and you really hate it, don't do it the same way. I would say it's just something I have to look at myself, because I'll do it and I don't really want to be judged because I hate it quite. I'm not yet in this mood or way of thinking that nobody knows me. You're not lost or confused, you haven't even started. This applies to people under 40. You're not lost or confused, you haven't even started. Take a deep breath and remember that happiness is what you're chasing. Not fundraising, not money, not awards or accolades. In fact, what most of you are doing is allowing your insecurities to dictate your angst. Because you're so passionate to show your parents or friends that you're successful. And it's called angst. So the funny thing is, if it's just really pronounced angst, it means the exact same thing in German, which is fear, and precisely spelled the right way and spoken or pronounced the right way, or the same way. In fact, what most of you are doing is allowing your insecurities to dictate your angst because you're so passionate to show your parents or friends that you're successful. Want to prove something, prove that you're enjoying the process of figuring yourself out and changing your current ambitions and curiosities. And there's a tweet of Gary Vee, and he says, "You haven't lost, you're just trailing at half time." Let's go. And it's something I could write a book of, because now, I do quite a lot of things. I make my podcast, the YouTube videos, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and I haven't really, I can't really see what I should do. I haven't just figured it out yet. There's just something a little puzzle piece that's just I need, to see the whole piece. And that's something I, today, honestly, was just a little bit fucked about, because it wasn't going where I really wanted to be, or not as fast as I wanted to be. And then I reminded myself I should be patient, and figuring this stuff all out is fun, and so on. Because if you know what you have to do, it's, like you just do, and it's not as funny as, you don't know what you're doing. Some sort of. Let's see. We have 2 more, and this should be fine. This is fine. The 6th one, fall in love with no. I love no, it's my biggest advantage. Most people don't understand that purebred entrepreneurs grew up getting unlimited no's and they fall in love with it. So many people are so insecure that they put the no on themselves. I put the no on the other persons or the circumstances. I don't dwell on my no. I don't internalize my no. I turn it into a mix of motivation, empathy, and acceptance, and I spit it back out. So I think what he wants to say, and I don't quite get it, I can just assume that if somebody says to you no, just see it as a motivation to go on and make it better and so on. Some sort of, I hope. The seventh one. If the voice in your head is negative, someone manipulated it. I am tired of people thinking that their voice in their head is the one telling them they can't or that they are not good enough. And that's something I just can't hear when people are saying it. When they just say that they can't do something or they have no time for something, because I think that's just bullshit, and this are just some thinking patterns that they have in their brain and they have in their system which aren't that right. They aren't right, because I think it has something to do with being aware of yourself or being or knowing yourself, or just thinking rational, if this term even exists. Just see if it's true, because I often see in people nowadays that they, how should I say, they have a lot of brain fog, so much that they do not see the reality anymore. Some sort of. Just think about this maybe. So much of life is about self-esteem versus insecurities. That inner voice that spits negativity back at you isn't talking to you. It's someone who manipulated your mind at a young age and created the division within yourself. Your character is built up to your 7th year of age, and that's why all your belief patterns and everything you have in your life and everything how you might be acting in your life is given to you by or until these 7 years, as I know. Correct me if it's not true. It's just amazing, because then you can see really that all the ways your parents act with money, with their health, with quite everything, with work, motivation, and so on, is given to you, and it's the faster you see it, the more you can change. But some people might only see it in their 40s, 50s. But never mind. I'm here passionately trying to reserve that voice, kill that fake voice and find yours. I love you, now go love yourself. And this was actually the end of this article, and I've really enjoyed to do this today. Again, something I'm really looking forward to every single day when I'm coming home after school, after showering, after eating. And for now, I'm sorry. If there are any question or anything you want to say, just write me a comment or DM me on any platform, any social media platform you prefer. And I would love you to see you the next time tomorrow, and see you the last time from yesterday, and so on and so on. And I love you, and I'll see you the next time, so tomorrow hopefully.